Hi, boys and girls. Today our reading target is I can discuss rhyme, rhythm, repetition, and alliteration in a variety of poems. So for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be really working and focusing on something called poetry. We kind of started talking about it a little bit on Friday, but we're going to really go into detail these next few days on exactly what poetry is. So if you look on my screen, it says, what is poetry? Poetry is a way of writing and it expresses feelings and ideas. If you watched Miss Gilson's writing lesson on Friday, then on Thursday, then you were able to see that how she described poetry as being a way of describing or writing in a fun way. And there aren't really any rules when it comes to like writing complete sentences in poetry. It's a fun way to express yourself. So we're going to practice doing types of poetry these next 2 weeks. So before we start, each poem has a theme or a topic. Whenever you start your poem or whenever you're reading a poem, you should have a theme or topic in mind. And that's something that interests you. Maybe you want to write about your life or something special that happened to you. And poetry can be about really anything, but you have to stay on topic whenever you're writing a poem. And we're going to practice reading some poems this week in reading. And we're going to talk about like why the author wrote that poem or the topic of the poem. So when we look at poems, poetry is all different types of ways that people express themselves. You might see different stanzas, lines, and they all have rhythm. So we're going to start with stanza. Can you say stanza? Good. So stanza is a group of related lines that make up a section in a poem. So sometimes when we read a poem, we might see like 2 lines and then a white space, 2 lines, a white space, 2 lines. Those are called stanzas. So when you see like a group of lines together, and then there's a space, and then there's another group of lines, those are called stanzas. So if you look at this example on my screen here, there's blue, green, and red. That would have 3 stanzas. The blue counts as 1, the green counts as 2, and then the red counts as 3. Now the lines are the number of lines that are in the poem. So if we count the actual lines, there's 6, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But there's 3 different groups. So the stanzas are the groups, okay? So this says, my mom said I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. My dad gave me a book. It taught me how to cook. My sister loves to bake. She made me a great cake. Now, when I read that, I kind of read that with rhythm. So poetry has a lot to do with rhythm as well. So what is rhythm? Rhythm is movement marked by regular repetition of sounds. So we kind of read it like with a beat, so that way it sounds better. So kind of like you're singing a song, and if you've heard nursery rhymes before, those kind of have rhythm to them and they kind of flow well. Well, same with poetry. Poetry has rhythm too. So today we're only going to focus on rhyme and having rhythm in our poems. So Mrs. Saldana is going to show you a few examples, and then you're going to get on Seesaw and you're going to be looking at a poem and you're going to read it with some rhythm and you're going to find the rhyming words in it. Okay, so poetry is a lot of fun. Again, going over rhymes, which we do all the time in phonics and reading. Rhymes are words that sound the same at the end. So if you look at this short poem here, it says, there was a bee high in the tree. I am so glad he could not see me. If you notice at the end of each of these words, what letter do you see? E. So they have the same ending sound. So like the double E, we know that if it ends in the same sound, that they must rhyme. So bee and tree rhyme, and he and me rhyme. So sometimes in poetry, and not all the time, poetry has rhyming words, which make it flow better and adds more rhythm to it. If you look at this poetry anchor chart, it says cat rhymes with rat. And that's just giving you an example of some rhyming words there. So we're going to really focus on rhyming and rhythm today. Remember, rhythm just makes your poem flow. We want the reader to read it with some with flow. We want it to be able to flow well, and we want them to read it with a special kind of beat, right? So here's some words. It says rhyme. Let's look at the words that rhyme. Cat and hat. And then it has some examples of some other ones, girl and twirl. Now this is just showing you that rhyming words, yes, they have to have the same ending sound at the end so that way they can rhyme. So if you choose to write a rhyming poem, make sure that at the end that the words look the same and they have the same ending sound. That way it rhymes. It says poetry is written in lines. It can have rhyme or words with the same middle and ending sounds. It often has rhythm or a strong beat. So here's a poem that you, or a nursery rhyme that you might be familiar with. It says, hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck one and down he ran, hickory dickory dock. What did you notice about that poem? Yeah, I noticed some rhyming words in it. What else? Okay, it has lines. How many lines do you see? Good, I see 5 lines as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you notice any stanzas where they group some lines together and then a white space groups some lines together? I don't see any stanzas where there's like a group, white space, group, white space. So there's not any stanzas on this page here. We notice some rhyming words. What else do you notice? Good, that it kind of has a beat to it. It kind of has rhythm to it. So this poem here has rhythm and rhyme. We're going to look at another one together. And this one is called The Long Sleep. We're going to read this, and I'm going to read it with rhythm, and then we're going to identify the words that are rhyming in this poem. Because remember, poetry has rhyming words. Not all the time, but most of the time when we do read poems, we can find some rhyming words in there, okay? The Long Sleep. When red leaves fall, I eat all day, then dig my den, no time to play. Did you notice any rhyming words in that page? Which ones did you notice? Good, I noticed day and play. What do they both end with? Yeah, they both end in AY. So that's how I know that they are rhyming words. Also, the author skipped a line and then put a rhyming word. So day, and then there's a line, and then the next line, there's another rhyming word. The author does that sometimes. That's the author's craft, how they chose to write their poem. Okay, so thinking about The Long Sleep, it says, when red leaves fall, I eat all day, then dig my den, no time to play. What are they talking about in this poem? What is the author's purpose for this poem? What do you think? Maybe telling us about a bear and what happens during the fall for a bear. Let's see at the next page. Full and happy, I sleep and sleep through winter's chill and snowfalls deep. Any rhyming words that you notice there? Which words? Good, I noticed sleep and deep. Now they have the same middle sound. What sound do you notice in the middle of the word? Double E. And they also have P at the end. They all end in E, E, P. So sleep and deep are rhyming words. Again, the author used a special type of format in this poetry. They don't have rhyming words in every single line, but every other line there's rhyming words, right? Sleep and deep rhyme. So it says, full and happy, I sleep and sleep through winter's chill and snowballs deep. So what's happening in this story with the bear? Yeah, they're telling us how it changes during the different seasons, right? So in the fall, it might be doing something else than it does in the winter. So this author's purpose for this poem was to tell us maybe how a bear sleeps through different seasons or what it does during different seasons. So every poem has a purpose for it, just how books do. Poetry does too, and it has a topic. This topic, the reason why the author wrote this was to tell us how the bears changed during different seasons. So again, today we went over these rhyming words together, and we talked about rhythm. It's poetry has rhythm and a beat to it. We read this with rhythm. So now you're going to get a chance to read one where this poem might be about something similar. It says, the title says changes. So it might be telling us about how this animal changes, just how we read about with the bear. You're going to get on Seesaw and you're going to find the rhyming words just like we did together. And you're going to highlight the words that rhyme. And then you have some questions about the poem that you're going to answer on there. Okay, so what we did today was we went over rhyme and rhythm. We went over stanzas and lines. We talked about themes and topics in poems as well, just how we have themes and topics and stories. And when we read these poems, we should be reading them with rhythm. Okay, so you're going to get on Seesaw. You're going to complete your assignment. Make sure you turn in your work, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.